Swadika and good evening and welcome to Thai PBS World Tonight. I'm Nat Bunnak.
I'm Frank Kanshi.
We'll begin with a big story for today, and we have to say it has caused some sort of controversy because this time it involves the State Audit Office, which has been under fire over its construction of the collapsed building in the March 28th earthquake. You might remember that this building is the only building that collapsed in the earthquake, and this has actually raised eyebrows among many people as to why is it the only building that collapsed in the March 28th earthquake when other buildings were not highly affected. But that building was the only building that collapsed completely, and the collapse also killed dozens of people as well, but it has also unraveled many irregularities regarding the construction project itself. But the SAO itself has been awarded the most transparent independent state agency by the NACC. So this has caused a lot of controversy today. So the National Anti-Corruption Commission has named the State Audit Office as the most transparent independent state agency for the ITA Awards 2025. So the ITA Awards stand for the Integrity and Transparency Assessment, where it evaluates state agencies on how transparent and honest these agencies are. So the State Audit Office won the highest marks with 94.64. This is followed by the Election Commission, which came second with 93.47. And the National Anti-Corruption Commission itself came third with 93.18 points. The Office of the Ombudsman came fourth with 90.51, and the Office of the National Human Rights Commission got 90.27. And the results came as a surprise and have raised eyebrows for netizens, especially following the collapse of its new State Audit Office building in Bangkok's Chatuchak district following the earthquake on March 28th. And like we just said, the SAO came under fire after it awarded the project worth 2.1 billion baht to a joint venture between a Chinese construction company, China Railway No. 10, and Italian Thai Development. And this has raised skepticism over the credibility of the Chinese construction company and found that it is located in a shop house instead of a huge company. And the SAO also came under fire for the use of nominees in a foreign business, which is illegal in Thailand. And they are also under fire for using substandard materials in the construction, the changes to the design of the building, and the lax supervision of the construction work. And at least 89 people were confirmed dead and 7 remain missing from the building collapse, which led to a massive search and rescue operation, which ended on May 13th. And so far, the Office of the Attorney General has formally indicted 23 individuals and legal entities, including top executives of the joint venture for the collapse of the State Audit Office building. And with the results that came out earlier this morning that the SAO got the top mark for the ITA Awards, it has caused a lot of criticism, and that also includes some of the People's Party MP that came out to criticize and comment on this issue. One of them being the People's Party MP Rakchanok Seenok, who posted on her Facebook criticizing how the criteria is being used for the transparency assessment of state entities. She commented that the data collection and evaluation of the ITA Awards has been done annually since 2013, yet corruption in government agencies has not improved. And she pointed out the 3 main areas of the evaluation, which includes the internal perception, external perception, and also the open data index as well. She commented that the process usually involves current internal staff providing feedback on how transparent their agency is. And therefore, how is it possible for people in that agency to say that their agency is shady? I'm pretty sure that no one is going to say that our company is shady, because when it comes to this kind of evaluation, we would be asked to give some sort of evaluation mark so that the company will actually pass the test results.
Yeah, actually, normally people, if companies, organizations, they want to get those feedback, they want to have actually an external party to help to evaluate. But this time, of course, as what you said, SAO got awarded as the best in the governmental organization. What do you think, Ned? So much criticism.
It's really skeptic because, like what Dr. Nok said, when it comes to this kind of evaluation, there's internal perception, external perception, and the open data. And we have to admit one thing. If you look through the websites of those government agencies, how can you be sure that this sort of data is actually transparent? Because let's say if you have over 1,000 documents, how is it possible that you could actually expose all of that onto that website? And we have to be honest on one aspect. Most of the government websites are not always updated. So how can you be sure that all of that transparency is up there? And when it comes to internal assessment, how can you be sure that all of these employees will tell the truth? And like what she said, not everyone is going to say that our agency, our company is shady. The only people who would say that it's shady are only those who already left. And those who work with the agency, whether it's like you've dealt with someone at the company before, will they actually tell the whole thing?
So Ned, yes, I understand that actually those people, those employees, they work in one organization, they still want to keep their job sometimes. So they don't want to say something bad. But this time, as what you said, no matter from the member of parliament and people on the ground, they are still very skeptical of this evaluation, as in we already see that only collapsed building, as what you said, on the earthquake on 28th of March. Is that factor already counted in this evaluation report? That's the key. People are asking about this.
And we also have to point out that this kind of assessment is not open to the public. It's only open to certain agencies that are being evaluated. So how can you be sure that these people will tell the truth?
And only in one circle, actually, is what you said. That's the point. But actually, according to National Anti-Corruption Commission, explained the scoring criteria for the awards in assessing the transparency of state agencies, which came under heavy criticism. These are three main parts explained by NACC, the perception of internal staff who have worked in the organization for at least 1 year. They assess their agency integrity and transparency. The second part evaluates external stakeholders who have dealt with the agency, covering areas such as communication with contractors, facilitation of services, and solicitation of bribes. The third part concerns, as what Ned said, open data or public disclosure of their information. This focuses on transparency in procurement and personnel management. Out of a total of 100 points, the OAG scored 94 points, ranking first among 5 state agencies. The NACC simply say that the ITA mainly checks whether the agency has good governance and what areas need improvement, not whether the agency is corrupt or not. Meanwhile, the NACC further stated that corruption in Thailand has not decreased. So Ned, as what you said, internal evaluation, open data, what about the communications with external stakeholders? So corruption is not included.
So that is really interesting. They only analyze good governance. But then for many people who came across things like these, they would say, when it comes to the evaluation, they might get really high marks for good governance. But the truth is that it might be the complete opposite.
What about the case with the collapsed building there, no matter it's corruption, no matter it's risk management, every part of that should be scrutinized, but not included in this report.
So that's really surprising, isn't it? Because when we all found out that the SAO got the top mark, people were like, really? Especially with that building that collapsed from the earthquake, and which has unraveled a lot of irregularities, whether it's the procurement process, the use of substandard materials, and how they're using Thai nominees to run a foreign business. A lot of this is like, what?
And these questions haven't been answered yet. We still see that under the mat. No one really over the mat and see everything inside. But now, still, State Audit Office got the first one.
Yeah, but even though some people involved have already been indicted, but you still have to wait for the actual investigation and the results. And by that time, we might find out whether that agency really has good governance or not.
Yeah. We will see that very soon.
Exactly. And now let's talk about the border tensions. And of course, it definitely affects the economy of both Thailand and Cambodia, especially border trade. And it has been more than 2 weeks since the ceasefire deal signed by both Thailand and Cambodia came into effect. But regardless, the border tensions have continued and it has taken a toll on the economies of both sides. And since the border tensions have erupted, the trade along the borders remains suspended and many Cambodian labor workers are returning home. So the big question now is how long it will take for things to go back to normal. Some of the analysts say that if there is political instability between the two, there is no way that the economy for both sides will actually improve. One of those analysts, Sompop Manarangsan, who's an economist and president at Panya Piwat Institute of Management, finds it tricky to analyze whether the tensions will ease. He says that it is hard to guess as the conflict also involves personal issues between the leaders of both sides. And it's not just national interest, it's also about emotions and feelings. And he also said that as long as politics in both countries remain unchanged, the current standoff may continue. And Thai businesses operating in Cambodia are fearing for their safety and have brought their Thai employees back home, while a large number of Cambodian workers in Thailand have also returned to their country. And as for the challenges when it comes to trade, Thailand is likely to lose some market share in Cambodia due to the closure of the border checkpoints and a local campaign to boycott Thai products. And this comes at a very unfortunate time because recently, President Trump has announced trade tariff policies, and this is expected to slow global trade as well. And Sompop also mentioned that if Thailand could not sell more on the global market due to the high tariff barriers imposed by President Trump, export to neighboring countries could have been an option, but we now have the conflict with Cambodia. Other observers also believe that Cambodia could import more from other countries such as China, Vietnam, and Malaysia to reduce the dependence on Thailand. And Cambodia is also an important logistics route Thailand relies on to export products, especially fresh fruits, to southern Vietnam. And meanwhile, the two-way trade on land borders checkpoints was estimated at about 174 billion baht last year. And this is according to the University of Thai Chamber of Commerce. And Thai exports to Cambodia accounted for 141 billion baht, while imports from Cambodia were worth 32 billion baht, giving Thailand a trade surplus of over 109 billion baht. And the major Thai exports were jewelry, oil products, drinks, sugar, and construction materials, reflecting Cambodia's dependence on imports for essential goods. So, Frank, Many of the economists feel that because of the border tensions, Cambodia might become less reliant on Thai products because there has been like a national campaign to boycott the Thai products and also the closure of border checkpoints. And you may have remembered that the Cambodian government has said that nope, we're not going to rely on Thai imports anymore because we can produce it ourselves.
On Cambodia's side, I think it's pretty good for them because they want to move their dependence to other countries.
Yeah.
But right now, that's the key. Is it possible at this moment? Because actually we share the border with Cambodia and Thailand. Sometimes, of course, we have to export our products to Cambodia. For Thailand, of course, Cambodia is not the biggest market, but of course, we link to each other. Sometimes, no matter for trade, for labor market, we link to each other too. But at this moment, I think no matter what, trade for business people, they want to see peace.
Exactly.
So both countries still link together, but now it depends on the wisdom of both countries' leaders to see if we can relink that.
Exactly, because when it comes to border checkpoints, if they are closed, it's not just the exporting goods from Thailand to Cambodia and then Cambodia to Thailand. But Thailand uses these border checkpoints to pass through Cambodia to other countries like Vietnam and China. One example is the export of fresh fruits. Many of the vendors have been heavily affected because they cannot export their goods to Vietnam or China because these border checkpoints have been blocked. And if they're blocked, they have to use that, they cannot use that route. They've been saying that to get through Vietnam or China or other countries, they still have to pass Cambodia anyway. So that's a problem.
Yeah, so if the border checkpoints are closed for a long time, it means that businessmen, businesswomen, they have to pay a lot. The cost of transport is pricey there.
Exactly. And the research center has projected 3 scenarios if the border tensions have not improved. So the first scenario is that if the two sides close their borders for 3 months, border trade would be reduced by 45 to 50 billion baht. And Thai businesses would need to accelerate exports through the sea route to Cambodia, resulting in higher transportation costs, making Thai goods more expensive. So that's the first case scenario. The second case scenario is that a 6-month border closure would cost trade worth 90 to 100 billion baht. And the confidence in trade and investment with Cambodia would be at risk. So you can see that there's already like a massive difference. If it's 3 months, it would be affected by as much as 50 billion baht. But if it's 6 months, at least 100 billion baht would be affected. And if there's a worst case scenario, a full year of border closures, 12 months, would cost 170 billion baht in lost trade. So we're hoping that it would not turn out that way for the worst case scenario.
Right, but what is at risk in this scenario, no matter it's for Thailand or for Cambodia too, because of course, Thailand companies, some companies, they also build up their factories in Cambodia because of lower labor costs there. As what you said, a 4-year border closure would cost 170 billion baht there. Relocation of factory might happen, and that would destroy or damage Cambodia's business there too.
Exactly. The longer the border closure, the higher the loss of trade and investment, and even worse, Thailand could permanently lose its export market for some products to China and Vietnam. And like we've reported before, Thailand is about to lose their status to Vietnam in many areas, whether it's economic growth or even exports like rice.
Right, and in this story, we also talk about labor market between two countries there. Thailand has for long relied on cheap labor from neighboring countries Myanmar, Cambodia, and Laos. And due to higher labor costs in Thailand, local government and shoe factories have moved to Cambodia to take advantage of lower costs there. Fruit growers in Chanthaburi province in eastern Thailand recently advertised vacancies for 30,000 workers because, of course, some part of Cambodian workers, they moved back to their countries because of this long-standing borders issue there. And research director at Thailand Development Research Institute say that both Thailand and Cambodia are poorer from the conflict, and it will take time before normalcy in border trade can resume. And the research director also say that 10% of an estimated 500,000 Cambodian laborers in Thailand have returned home following the deadly border clashes last month. So it means that, of course, Cambodian laborers in Thailand, some of them already moved back to Cambodia. As what industry that I talk about are garment industry, and of course a construction site too. We have a lot of Cambodian immigrant workers to help us to build a lot of buildings in Bangkok. But this time, if they really move back, I mean, the border closure and the long-standing conflict still continue for another 6 months. Who will do that for Thailand and in garment industry too? So laborers returning to Cambodia, however, may struggle to find employment, to may end up in very low paid jobs. This is another part of the coin too. So in Thailand, small enterprises would find it more difficult to deal with labor shortages. Many Cambodian workers are employed on farms, harvesting fruit along the border in eastern Thailand, in food processing factories, and in the fishing industry too. So on the positive side, we have to talk about that. The labor situation could drive Thai farmers and companies to focus on innovation. To some extent, the availability of cheap labor from neighboring countries has hindered the development of various industries. So quote, I'm not concerned about the impact of Cambodian labor returning home. Thai firms should turn this situation to their advantage. So actually, NED, TDRI, or other agencies, they want to understand that if Thailand's small and medium enterprises can use this impeccable timing to develop innovations, to really cost down, and of course, to get less and fewer labors in their companies too.
And right now, the Labor Ministry is trying to import labor from other countries to replace the Cambodian workers who have left the country already. And they're still in talks though. And one of the countries that they have chosen is Sri Lanka, I believe. So it is really affecting businesses and the economy in Thailand. And many industries have been heavily reliant on cheap labor. And with Cambodian workers leaving Thailand, going back home, it's going to be affected for sure.
Yeah, but it would be quite difficult because it means that they have to pay more.
Yeah.
They have to pay flight ticket for those people from Sri Lanka, but for Cambodia, they might just take bus and getting to Thailand. That's quite difficult, I think. But now we talk about Cambodia, of Thailand-Cambodia relations, but now we have to talk about the competition with Vietnam, because once we say that Thailand was the Asia tigers before, and now the new tiger might emerge on the landscape, which is Vietnam, because Thailand's path to becoming a high-income country, before we say that 2035, 2040, but now it has been delayed to 2048. But Vietnam also has the same time frame, which is the target of 2045 to 2050. Of course, I think right now Thailand's government trying so hard to push the GDP growth to 2.7% or 3% after COVID. But now, as according to Nasdaq or even Gasikong Research Center, Thailand's GDP only kept at 1.8% or 2% here. But experts warn that right now we are seeing the competition with Vietnam. Vietnam trying so hard to put so much budget for the reform to underline and of course streamline all those complex regulations here, and they put a lot of budget inside. They want to push Vietnam's GDP to 8%, but right now experts already say that Vietnam's consistency policy reforms have propelled rapid development and attracted foreign direct investment to Thailand, particularly from China and South Korea. Thailand's private sector business people, they sounded the alarm. Without decisive reforms, Thailand risks losing its competitiveness and falling behind Vietnam. Well, Thailand still enjoys strong infrastructure. This is the part that Thailand always holds competitiveness and positivity in terms of business climate. But right now, policy uncertainties, political instability, and government's delays have left it at a disadvantage as Vietnam rapidly adapts to attract new investment. Vietnam also, as what I said, they put a lot of investment equivalent to 1.5 trillion baht, which is worth around 10% of its GDP, aimed at achieving 8% of GDP this year and the upcoming years too, and to become Asia's next economic tiger and a high-income country nations by 2045. Historically, dependent on exports and foreign direct investment, Vietnam's average income per capita has risen dramatically from just 1,200 in 1990 to over 16,000 USD today in Hanoi. So Ned, in contrast, Thailand still facing delays at this moment, as TDRI, of course, saying that, okay, right now Thailand has to push the economy to 3% to achieve the high-income nation goal. We want to become OECD member by 2032. But there's a lot of risks, political instability, policy uncertainty here. What should we do, Ned?
It's hard to comment what we should do because it's up to the government. And it looks like the government has not been doing much to push the economy further because they're dealing with a lot of setbacks, whether it's border tension, political instability, and now there are 3 court cases coming up. And this will determine the stability of the government.
Yeah, and you talk about political instability too, but for the economic expert, they talk about aging society, aging population, because right now, of course, our population capped at around like over 70 million for Thailand. But if there's no policy intervention, we might see population decline, which means that we might not have enough people to boost and support economic growth.
And the aging societies are affecting not just Thailand, but in many countries in Southeast Asia, because the working population is decreasing over the years while the aging society has been growing. And we're like a super age society already, and we have been implementing things like unretirement, where we rehire some of the retirees back into the workforce, whether it's at manager level or even at the operational level. So people have been talking about silver age economies, having more elders back in the workforce, and now this.
Yeah, it's structural reform too, because complex regulation really hinder the willingness of investors to come to Thailand to invest. Of course, we already have EEC, those kind of organizations to attract more investment to come to Thailand, but policy reform and the structural reform is very important too.
All right, and that's all for this edition of Thai PBS World Tonight. Join us every Monday and Tuesday at 6 p.m. on Thai PBS World's Facebook and YouTube Live. And you can also follow us on social media and our website, thaipbsworld.com, for all the latest stories and analyses about Thailand. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ